Hey, what's happening? Chris Martinez here. I am the host of Operation Agency Freedom, your favorite podcast in the entire universe. Today, I'm going to be talking about why client retention and your churn rate will help you determine how much money you're going to make in your agency. So, if you're ever wondering about things that people say like, oh, 2% increase in client retention can grow your profitability by $1 million or whatever. People love to throw out these quotes and they have absolutely no idea like how the numbers actually line up. Guess who figured it out? Me. I did. So I'm going to share with you guys a very, very simple formula that you use to determine your lifetime customer value based on your churn rate. We're going to be talking about why it's so much easier to keep clients happy and get them to stay longer than it is to go out and find new clients. And just answer some general questions about client retention and churn, like what should your churn be? And so, if you have any of those questions, or you want to learn a little bit how to manage the numbers better and how your churn will impact your profitability in your business, make sure you tune in to today's episode. See you soon. All right, welcome back. So, let's talk about churn and client retention. Let's start off by talking about the importance of keeping clients, right? So, like our business model for the most part is monthly recurring revenue. So instead of charging a big fee up front, 100,000 bucks or something like that, we say, okay, instead of doing that, we're going to charge you 6,000 bucks a month or 3,000 bucks a month or whatever it is that you charge per month. And that it's a fantastic business model. First of all, if you ever want to go and try and sell your agency, the MRR is amazing. You're going to get a better multiple, and the numbers much easier to show growth and obviously retention and things like that. It also just makes your life easier, like not having to go out and basically survive on what you kill that month. Just having those monthly payments come in every single month on the same day every month. You know what your cash flow is going to look like for the most part. It definitely relieves some stress. So for that business model to work though, you have to have good retention. And I've seen some people say like, "Oh man, if you get your clients to stick around for 6 months, that's amazing." I'm like, "That is nonsense. That is crazy." If you think that a client that sticks for 6 months is a good client retention number, like that's terrible. You have to have very good retention. Well, what does that retention look like? It means that you can lose 3% of your monthly recurring clients per month. Okay. So very, very simple math. If you have 100 clients, you can lose three per month. That's the maximum. Anything over that is unacceptable. If you're under that, awesome. Great job. We're going to go through this formula in a second. You're going to see how much longer your clients are going to stay with you and how much you're going to make more money. But 3% is the goal. Now, why is it not 0%? Because some people say, like, I want my churn to be 0%. Well, that's unrealistic. You're going to lose clients. And a lot of the times it can be for something that you didn't have any control over, right? Like maybe your client is going out of business. Maybe they sold the business and that company that buys them already has a marketing agency. And you're going to make mistakes too. Your team is going to make mistakes. They are going to lose clients. That's part of the game as well. That's why we don't have the churn rate being 0, because that's just unrealistic. If you can keep your churn to 3% per month, you will have a wildly successful business and it makes your life so much easier. So, just really quickly, some of the things that basically go into keeping that churn rate down are like hitting your deadlines, making sure that your clients are getting results, communicating very frequently and consistently with your clients, and building trust with them so that they trust that you have their best interest at heart and that you can solve their problems. Those are like the big ones. And we can go into a whole nother discussion about how you do that. But basically, like if you just continue to get results for the clients, you talk to them all the time, you befriend them, and you make sure that you do what you say you're going to do, they're going to stick with you for a very, very long time, which is what we want, right? We don't want to have to go out and get all new clients every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or even 2 years. We want to get these clients that we work so hard for. We want to get them. We want to keep them for a very long time. So let's talk about this magical churn rate formula that I created. So we already know, or I didn't create, I found it. We already know that you need to keep your churn rate at 3% or less per month. Oh, actually, before I get into the formula, let me just clarify something with you. How many clients you get during the month does not impact your churn rate for that month. So, because I've heard some people that are just idiots, they'll say, like, I had no churn this month. And when I'm like, oh, that's great. Or they'll say, I had positive churn this month. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So, some people will say that your churn rate, like if you have 100 clients to start the month, you lose three, and then you gain two, like for, if sales goes out and sells two, some people will say that your churn rate was 1%. That is completely false. It does not matter how many clients we lost or how many clients we've gained. All that matters with the churn rate is how many clients we lost. And now what this does is if you do it the incorrect way, you're painting a much rosier picture as to what's actually happening in the business. So you go around, you say like, oh, my churn rate's only 1% because I lost three and I gained two. So that means we have a churn rate of 1%. Completely wrong. No, your churn rate is 3%. Think about it this way. Say you have 100 clients, you lose 20, you bring in 18. So you're saying my churn rate is 2%. Completely wrong. Your churn rate is 20%. That's terrible. Right? So whenever it when you're calculating your churn rate, it's very simple. You take the number of clients that you start the month with, then you subtract. You look at the number of clients that you lost, and you take the number of lost clients and you divide it by the total of clients that you started the month with, and that gives you your churn rate percentage. So very, very clear. It's super important that you calculate this the right way. Otherwise, you're going to have wrong data, then you're going to make bad decisions. So with that being said, we know that we need our churn rate to be 3%, but what does that actually mean? Like, how does that translate into dollars into the business? So this is the formula that I found. I was Googling for hours because there's so many quotes of people saying like, this much change in churn will grow your profitability by this much. And I'm like, why? Like how? Okay, I believe you, but show me how you can make that assumption? Are you just saying it because it's a popular thing to say and people are too dumb to question if it's actually legit? So I did all this research, and finally, I found a guy who was in SaaS. So he had a software company and he was giving a talk and he gave this formula at his talk. And I can't believe that it's not more readily available. So the formula is pretty simple, right? So you take the number one and you divide it by your churn rate as a decimal. So I'm going to require you to go back to like sixth grade math. And if you have a decimal, or sorry, if you have a percentage and you want to change it into a decimal, you move the decimal point over two spaces, right? So if our churn rate percentage is 3%, that becomes, as a decimal, that becomes decimal two places, 0.03. Okay. If you have a churn rate of 5%, you're going to move the decimal two places and it's going to be 0.05. That's the decimal. If your churn rate is 10%, you're going to move the decimal two places and it's zero point 0.1. Okay. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take one and you're going to divide it by your churn rate as a decimal. So let's just use 3%. So you're going to go 1 divided by 0.03 and it's going to spit out 33.333333. So what do you think that represents? Well, I'll tell you. It means the number of months that a client is going to stay with you. So one represents the total lifetime of a client. Every month you're losing 3% of that. 0.03 is a decimal. So you do 1 divided by 0.03, and that gives you 33 months that that client is going to stay with you, right? So let's just use another number, right? So you have, let's say your churn rate is 5%. So you're going to go 1, you're going to get divided by 0.05, and then you're going to get 20. So let's just look at this because you should already see where I'm going here. 3% churn, your client stays with you for 33 months. 5% churn, your client stays with you for 20 months. That's a difference of how many months? 13 months. Which is better? Client that stays with you for 33 months or 20 months? Obviously, 33 months is better. Okay. So what's the next step? The next step is that you're going to take that number, let's just say with 33 months, and we're going to multiply it by our average revenue per unit. So average revenue per unit basically means on average, how much are you charging those clients for that particular package? So let's say we have a package and the ARPU is $1,000 a month. So you're going to take 33,000 or 33,000. Already, I got to have myself. You're going to take 33. You're going to multiply it by 1,000. And that's going to give you what number? 33,000. Okay. Let's look at the other scenario where your competitor or somebody else in another product that you have has a churn rate of 5%. So you're going to take 1 divided by 0.05. That gives you 20. And now you're going to take 20 and you're going to multiply it by ARPU is $1,000 by 1,000. Now 20 times 1,000 is 20,000. So that means that you have one product where the churn rate is 3%. Your client stays for 33 months times 1,000. That client is worth $33,000 in revenue. You have your other product and the churn rate is 5%. So you go 1 divided by 0.05. That gives you 20. Multiply that by 1,000 and that client is worth $20,000 to you. That's the lifetime value of those clients, by the way. This is essentially the formula for lifetime customer value. Some people call it client lifetime value or customer lifetime value, CLV or LTV, basically mean the same thing. So you have 33,000 for the client that is with the 3%, and then you have 20,000 for the one that the churn rate is 5%. So 33,000 versus 20,000. Which one is better? Obviously, the one that is 33,000. And that's basically the formula. So you can see the difference is if you change that churn rate by 2 percentage points, you go from 3% to 5%. That 3% is going to be worth like 30% more just by doing a better job, just by doing like what you said you're going to do for the clients. Because what you do in your business is fairly straightforward. You're telling the client, hey, you give me $2,000 a month, and in return, I'm going to generate this many leads, which is going to generate this much revenue for you. You're literally saying, hey, you give me $1, I'm going to give you back 10. And if you can do that at scale, the clients will never leave. They will never leave. So there's two other things that you got to do though, to keep that churn rate down, as I was talking about. So you got to get them results. You got to communicate very frequently, right? You got to talk to them all the time. Make sure that they know that you care about them. And then you got to do what you say you're going to do. So if you say you're going to talk to them on a certain day at a certain time, don't be late. Show up. If you say you're going to deliver them a report, if you say that you're going to have a website done or a landing page done or whatever, you got to do what you say you're going to do. Right. So have those open lines of communication, make sure that they trust you because you're communicating so frequently, and then deliver results. You do those things and you will never, ever lose clients. Now, what gets really hard is when you're trying to do that with 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 200 clients. That's where it gets really, really challenging. Like you can do this all day long and keep your churn rate down at 0 when you have 10 customers and there's, 2 or 3 of you that are working on all of these campaigns and you're working late nights and just grinding it out. But when you start to have a big team that's doing the work and you start to have a lot of different customers, that's when stuff starts to break. And that's when it gets a lot harder to keep this churn rate down. It is obviously possible. We help all of our clients with this because every single one of our clients, they struggle with churn at some point. And so you just have to, make some changes, right? Maybe increase some accountability standards, maybe build out your client journey, maybe tweak your client journey a little bit because things have changed. But at the end of the day, this is 100% under your control. And now, hopefully, you see the financial reason behind keeping that churn rate down, keeping your retention numbers high. And in the end, you're going to make a lot more money. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, of course, just reach out. I'm more than happy to help you. And if this is something that you directly want help with and you want to see how Dude can look at your numbers and make some recommendations for things that you can improve, just go to our website, dudeagency.io. This is exactly what we do. You can see what it is. Like, first step is you just do an initial call with us. We can determine if we're going to be a good fit and if we can actually help you. Then you'll do like a one-time business analysis. And then after that, if you want us to help you implement the plan, we can discuss that and come up with a package for you. Otherwise, you can just take the plan and implement it yourself. And sometimes that's the best course of action too. So anyways, hope you're having a great day. I will talk to you later.
Hey, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to the podcast and also share it with friends, family, and basically anyone you know who will find the same value in this episode as you do. So, to get the latest from me, then let's connect on social media on the Facebooks at facebook.com/dude agency or Instagram at dudeagency.io. Then you can also find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and even TikTok. Yes, I'm that cool. We are on TikTok. Finally, go to our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. Register for live trainings on how to run a highly profitable agency, and you can see exactly how we help marketing agencies fix their operations and scale to 8 figures and beyond. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.